What's up, Schwartz Force? Welcome back to the channel. We got a double review going on for you here today. These are two watches from Gallant, a little bit different from the other watches I reviewed. These are all solid stainless steel, so a little bit higher quality, and I think you guys are gonna love them. Great bang for buck, as is always the case. But I'm gonna nickname this one the Mickey, and I'm gonna nickname this one the Oreo. And you know why? That crown looks like a double stuffed Oreo. And anytime I see a Panda dial that's got the 3 black sub dials, it always reminds me of the Mickey Mouse silhouette. So that's what we're nicknaming these two watches. And I'm going to do a little bit different structured review for you here today. So let me know in the comments down below if you enjoy it or if you think I should go back to my old style. It won't hurt my feelings, but just give me some feedback. I appreciate that. And if you want to help out the channel, first thing you can do, of course, join the Schwartz Force. It's free, and you can like this video, comment, and share. All that helps me out. And if you want to go a step above, you can always buy me a coffee. I appreciate that. And that goes back towards the channel, whether it be gear, buying other watches to review, and doing giveaways. So paying the shipping to get things sent outside of the US is very expensive, so that's where that money goes if you decide to contribute. I didn't want to do Patreon or anything because I want all my content to be equally shared amongst everyone. Whether you decide to donate or not, I just want all my content to be equally shared. So that's why I have the coffee link. So I don't want to drag on with that. But another way that I can help you out is if you decide you want to buy one of these watches and you like them, Amazon, go pick one up and use the coupon code DAVESAVES. That's going to get you 10% off. You can use my affiliate links. That'll help me out. But the actual coupon code, I don't get any cut from Gallant or anything like that. So just full disclosure, that's just to help you out as a big thank you. Now, in case if you're new to the channel, my name is Dave. May the Schwartz be with you. And hey, did you know it's a great day to wear a watch? Today I have on, probably going to screw this up, the Seiko Fuyugashiki watch, and it is, boom, bling blam. There you go. We got that snowflake dial there, and this is my Seiko Presage, and I got this bad boy on my brand new light blue suede Strapsco strap. I've done a full review on a handful of their straps. You can check it out up here if you haven't seen it yet. I highly recommend it. Without further ado, let's jump into this review. All right, guys, here we go. Double review. Wait a second. Something's missing. Hold up, hold up. They're black. They're back. And let's get a thumbs up. Yoga hands, you know what's up. You guys know my nicknames, but I'm going to give you the actual model number. So the Mickey is 8907-3 model number. And the double stuffed Oreo crown is going to be model number 8907-4. And then we're going to do this new style in my review. Let me know what you think. Okay, let's get started. So case dimensions, again, this is the same for both watches. We're looking at a case diameter of right at 40 millimeters. If we include the crown, it's going to bring us right at 43 millimeters. Now the lug to lug's a little tricky because as you can see here, the lugs are a little different since this is an integrated case design. It is and it's not, but we'll get to that in a second. 47 millimeters, and then case thickness is coming in, and this is a slightly domed mineral crystal, so it's coming in right at 9.5 millimeters. These are, of course, the same dimensions for both watches. Now the strap is going to be the same on each watch. The only difference is going to be that the Mickey has a brushed satin finish stainless steel tang buckle. The Oreo has a satin finish or brushed PVD coated stainless steel buckle. So that is the only major difference between the two when it comes to each strap. Now the measurements of the strap are at the lugs or the case, it's 23.5. Make sure that's correct. Yep, so 23, let's just say 23, and then that does taper down to 18 millimeters. It's made of this soft, pliable silicone material. As you can see here, I can fold it in half, it bounces back. It's actually pretty thick. The thickness of the strap itself is 3.5 millimeters. And I gotta say, the material, it feels really nice. It doesn't seem like it's gonna just dry out and crack or break easily. Now getting up close, we see that there is contrast stitching in white. It's almost silver, has like a metallic kind of sheen to it in person. And you can see this is actual thread that is through the silicone, so it's not just painted or colored in. So nice attention to detail there on both sides, of course. We see that we have the silicone, I guess, strap holders, and one has the teeth to hold it in place, as you can see there. The other allows you to adjust it accordingly. And I like this textured pattern. We see these little chevrons and they're all unidirectional. Just gives it a nice feel. It's a little kind of sporty, actually, sporty look and feel. Now looking at the case of the Mickey, we see that we have a solid stainless steel case, and of course stainless steel case back, which is indicated on the back. We do also have indication of the 50 meters water resistance and then the Japanese quartz movement Gallant branding as well. Now you'll notice that the lugs, it's polished here in the back of the case, and those lugs they're integrated, but they're not. The strap can actually be removed. And I've talked to Gallant about this, and they said that they may be in the process of having additional straps available in the future, but at this time they do not. But I'm gonna kind of browse around the internet and see if I can find a strap where it's 20 millimeters at the spring bar and then pops out enough to that 23.5 to match flush with the case. I will let you know if I run into anything as an aftermarket option. But Gallant did reach out to me and they addressed my question that these straps should last about 2 years or so. And I'm guessing that's based on wearing them daily. These watches I don't wear every day. I could probably get a more substantial longevity out of the straps themselves. Getting back on the case, we see that we have high polish on the sides, and then we have a brushed or satin finish on the lug area. And then I did want to point out that the case back is actually just a press on case back, so you can pry this off. It's not a screw down case back or anything like that. Now when we move over to the OREO, it's the same thing. We have high polish, even though it's black PVD stainless steel, we see high polish on the sides and then brushing or satin finish on the lug area. The bezel is brushed, satin finished, and then we see that there are these indice markers. These are actually engraved into the bezel itself. It's a fixed bezel, and it's actually part of the case as well, so it is not separate. But one thing that I really like, the attention to detail from Gallant on this watch, is you can see how it's high polish here on the lip of the bezel, and then it angles in, as you can see there. So it's beveled where it's also done in high polish, and then it slopes down. I hope this is coming in on camera. So it slopes inward where the bezel is brushed. You can actually see it slope down to the mineral crystal. So I thought really when you look at this watch at first glance, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on, but when you get up close and you really pay attention, you see the finishing on the case and everything. It's done really nicely. It even has a little bit of an effect where it pops out from the case itself. I don't know if that's showing up there. The case itself is bulbous, and then where the bezel is, you can see where it kind of dips in and then comes back out straight upward, and then angles in, bevels in, and then slopes down. So there's just a whole lot of different angles that are happening on this case and bezel. These hour markers, we see the little triangle there at 12 o'clock, and then we have simple circle pips in even numbers, and then of course these little rectangles at 3, 6, and 9. And they're etched in there very nicely. There's no lume applied or anything like that, but this is just kind of a sporty watch, kind of simple, but I like the way that looks. We see the same thing here on the OREO, and a little bit harder to read because with it being all blacked out, it's harder to distinguish those indices. So you can see here with the lighting where it pops a little bit more, but same thing, brushed finish, and then that case design. I think you can notice it a little bit more on the Mickey, being that it is in stainless steel. Just seems like you notice those details a little bit better. But yeah, I'm really, really impressed with just the level of detail these watches have at a $50 price point. So next up, we're going to take a look at the crown. Now the crown on the Mickey version is just a coin edge. It has a little black paint there in the middle. So I guess you could say a reverse OREO, but not quite. We do see that it is signed with the Gallant Shield logo, and then the crown itself does not have any crown guards. Very easy to turn, and because of the just sizing and proportions of it, it's very easy to operate as well. Same thing here on the OREO. You can see the crown has that double coin edge crown, and then there's a little bit of cream filling between our OREO sandwich crackers, made with real cocoa, by the way. And then we have that blacked out Gallant logo on the crown as well. It does not screw down, so just something to be aware of. Now the crystal for this, again, like we were talking with the bezel, I love how the crystal is just slightly domed. It is a mineral crystal, but that slight dome gives some really nice distortion at an angle, as you can see there. And with that bezel sloping downward, the domed crystal, because it's very slightly domed, and you can't really even see it here, to kind of explain this a little more, where the bezel is sloping down, the crystal is actually bouncing back up slightly and curving. So you can feel almost like a 3D effect with the bezel meeting that crystal and then kind of popping back outward. It's really nice. Something I hadn't noticed until I got up close on the watch ready for this review and giving it some time on the wrist. So great attention to detail there as well. And it is the same effect on the OREO. So they are both like that. Now let's get up close on this dial. You'll notice it looks white at a distance, but when we get up real close and macro in there, you'll notice that it's actually a pearlescent silver color. This plays with the light really nicely. And again, shimmers, just looks white, Arctic white almost at a first glance. Now the subdials are actually done in just a plain matte black color. And I like that the subdials are recessed into the dial itself. You can see that lip where it's beveled just slightly. Gives it a little bit of texture and separation from the dial itself. There is Gallant branding printed just under 12 o'clock, so you can see that in their font there. Other than that, the dial is absent of any other logos or branding from Gallant. So we see a large number 12 printed at 12 o'clock, of course. We have these 5-minute increments printed through the dial. And then there's these combination of stick, minute markers, and then these lines in each quadrant. There's that kind of circular line that goes around the chapter ring. Thought that was kind of cool, a little different. And then of course we see these just stick hour markers at 3, 6, and 9. And that kind of ties in with the bezel as well. So it just continues right through it. Thought that was neat. And then we see on the subdials, we have date of month on the right 3 o'clock subdial, our running seconds hand located at the 6 o'clock subdial, and then of course day of week indication on the left or 9 o'clock subdial. I like how everything's printed in this high contrasting white, so it really stands out, easy to read. There's really nothing else along the Rayhot, just simple, clean looking dial. Now when we move over to the double stuff OREO, we notice that the dial is a little bit different, kind of inverted from what we saw on the Mickey. The difference being is the subdials still stay black, but when we look at the finishing of the dial itself, it's still a matte black finish. It's not pearlescent, and it's the same color on the subdials. So it gives it more of that, a little bit more blacked out look. It doesn't contrast nearly as much as we see on the Mickey. And then we just see that all of the indices are printed in the white. I still like though that the hour markers at 3, 6, and 9 tie in with those stick indices that we see in the bezel. You just don't notice it nearly as much on this watch since it's all blacked out, but they're still there. Now, having this watch and wearing it, I noticed with the hands, they really put some thought into the design behind this, and I'll tell you why. So we notice that we have a white contrast portion here near the middle, and then it turns to black, and this is skeletonized up to the tips, which have a little bit of lume applied. And the reason for that is you'll see when the watch is actually progressing through the hours, the skeletonized part allows you to see through it. So when it's blocking the subdials, you can still see the sticks behind, pointing to the date, pointing to which direction the seconds are, what day of week it is. And then you'll notice that the minute hand, the way it extends, the tip of it is always on the outside of the subdials. So it does reach the indice markers, so it's very easy to read the time there. And then the hour marker does go into the subdial, but you notice again that skeleton portion allows you to be able to read the time or read the information on each subdial behind it. So I thought that was pretty neat. So while the minute and hour hands are these elongated stick shapes, we see that they are also solid white sticks on the left and right subdial. And then there is a needle shaped second hand, running second hand. So I thought that was kind of cool how it's different on the seconds hand versus the day and date indicators. Now, when we look at the OREO, same thing, but reversed. The hour and minute hands have black in the centers to kind of disappear into the dial. And then those white portions that skeletonize extend beyond the subdials, very easy to read, also lume tipped there. And then we see the same hands that are applied in the subdials. So really cool. The only portions of the watch that have Lume applied are actually the hour and minute tips, and then surprisingly the second hand. It's really cute when you see it at night. There's a little bit of Lume applied in that second hand, so when it's running you see it. It doesn't last too long, so I just want to be upfront with that, but it's cool. It does have Lume there. Now when we get to the actual function of the crown and the subdial, so when we pull it out to position 2, very easy to adjust the time. You can actually be very accurate. It doesn't move too fast. It's not real loose, so it feels really good. It doesn't feel like a cheap movement that's in there. The date of month is going to change first, and then the day of week after. So as we get closer, we are at, let's see, we're at 11, starting to move. Okay, so the date changes just before midnight. So day of week is starting to change right around 1 a.m. And that is going to complete, just after 2 a.m. So about from 11 to 2, I wouldn't make any changes to the day or date. Now, one thing you'll have to keep in mind when we're in position 1, moving the crown towards us, which is counterclockwise, is going to rotate us through those dates. Very easy to, it clicks into place. It moves kind of fast, so just be a little careful, otherwise you're going to pass the date. But unfortunately, if we turn the dial clockwise, it does not rotate the day of week. So if you are setting the day of week, again, you're going to have to actually go through position 2 into all of the days to get to the correct one. But once you set that, you're good to go. All right, so let's get on the wrist. We'll talk pros and cons. One of the things that I want to point out that this could be a con for you depending on your wrist size is I have this on my 7-inch wrist, and I am at the 3rd from the last slot on the strap. So if you have a much larger wrist, this watch may not fit you, and because this is a fixed style strap, you may not be able to wear this watch until there's a larger strap available or something like that. So just keep that in mind. I think if you have a smaller wrist, this is actually going to wear really well. And that's one of the pros, is that even though the case size is 40, it really doesn't wear like a 40. The mineral glass size is only 31.5. So I feel like this watch, because of the fixed bezel and the case shape, it wears a little bit smaller. And with the curved lugs, the way that they're shaped like that, and then they come straight down with the strap built in, I think that this watch is going to wear on smaller wrists actually pretty nice. One of the pros, of course, the price. I think you're getting a lot of bang for buck here, especially because we now have a solid stainless steel case and case back. It has a good weight, nice heft to it, and then the day-date complication. So style is another thing. If you like the all blacked out look, this watch is going to be great for you. If you like a little more contrast, then the Mickey option is going to be great for you as well. I haven't seen any other watches like this, so I think it kind of stands apart from some of the more common things that you see out there. And I'm going to list that as a pro because I kind of like things that are different. At the same time, I want value and bang for buck while I do it. So I'm going to go ahead and put that as a pro. One of the cons may just be the Lume, being that there's not a whole lot of it and it doesn't last too long. But again, at this price point, we got to keep in mind that I don't expect there to be super luminova applied to these watches. So, I mean, it's a con, but not really. The 50 meters water resistance is actually a pro because a lot of cheaper watches usually only have 30 meters of water resistance. So I do appreciate that. The lack of screw down crown, if it had 100 meters water resistance, it would be even better. But I think for the price, this is perfectly acceptable. Design wise, I absolutely love it. The only questionable thing is the straps over time, but I will let you guys know if I run into any problems with either watch. Of course, I'm going to be straightforward with you and do an update. So far, I really like these, and I think you will too. So check them out. Let me know what you think of the new review style, and of course, let me know what you think of the Gallant watches, the Mickey or the OREO. Which one's your favorite? Come on, guys, it's the OREO. Just kidding. MICKEYGALLANT. So let me know which one is your favorite and comment down below. Any feedback is much appreciated. I hope to see you guys at the next one. Again, subscribe, share, like, comment, all that good stuff if you haven't already. And thank you so much for being a part of the Schwartz Force. May the Schwartz be with you. Take care.